But this is more like it. This is more like it. This is more like it. This is where we're going to get into the juicy stuff. This is where we're going to get into the juicy stuff, and it is. This is juicy.
From Wicker Man to Broken Man.
Yeah, to Broken Man, to Mr. Bull, Gerald V. Bull. Very interesting fella was Gerald Bull. I think it might be Vincent. Maybe his middle name's Vincent. I can't. It might tell us somewhere along here. Anyway, as you see, Stanley Pottinger's name is highlighted on here, mainly because when I've searched for it, I've opened it up. But you can see where he is in here. He's actually representing Bull, and Bull is being called a broken man. And this Gerald Bull was portrayed in court Thursday as a broken man, so jolted by his congealing arms to South that he has been diagnosed as suicidal and is under round-the-clock psychiatric care.
So why did they choose such a cheery photo of him?
Yeah. Hello, I'm suicidal.
He looks like someone just offered him an ice cream.
Yeah,
Hello.
wow.
I'm a broken man.
Maybe like that 99 flake you're holding.
Maybe it's Mossad who implanted the 99 flake eventually, because in 1990, I think it is, he is murdered by the Mossad, this man here, with his nice welcoming smile.
Was it a poison flake inside the 99?
Was the flake just actually polonium or something like that? Or was it just, was it a 99?
They've
99
changed
polonium?
the flavour of this chocolate a bit.
Yeah, to be sparkly. It's sparkly on
although
my tongue.
the picture's in black and white, I can tell that he's got some real red rosy cheeks.
Yeah,
there.
I can
see the redness.
I agree.
And he looks like a happy, jolly
arms dealer.
Yeah. So this is really interesting, right? Okay. How about I tell you that by the end of this year, Pottinger himself is going to be an arms dealer. Yeah, Pottinger himself is going to be an arms dealer. So let's start off this first half of the year by him representing an arms dealer in court.
I bet he doesn't have that on his business card.
Yeah, no, he doesn't. He doesn't have that on his business card. I think I've seen his business card. It was matte finish, shiny bits on it.
It just says Mr. Clean, but to see it, you have to tilt the card because it's a special kind of.
Because it's so
finish.
clean.
It's so clean, yeah.
It's so clean. It's the cleanest cut card that you can possibly find. Oh my God, the font. You would not believe the font. Anyway, so there you go. There's Bull. And his lawyers unsuccessfully asked a federal judge to reduce or suspend a 6-month sentence for Bull, head of a munitions firm in North Troy and Highwater, Quebec, for his role in exporting arms in violation of a United Nations embargo. Now, Bull's a really strange one. He didn't only, most of the actions he took to export arms during this era, he was doing by being pushed by CIA openly, because they wanted basically to get loads of arms into South Africa, and South Africa to attack, I think it's Angola, which was of course on the other side of the border, and it turned communist. So you know what the CIA get like when there's communists around. They get all excited. They bring out their favorite toys, and they get someone. They get someone to put all of their commie-busting weapons into a country. So reviewing a sealed report about Bull's mental and physical condition, the judge said the psychiatric evaluation does indicate suicidal tendencies and tendencies towards self-destruction. Bull is being treated at Silver Hill Foundation in New Canaan, Connecticut, where his new attorney, John Stanley Pottinger of Washington, D.C., described as one of the nation's leading psychiatric treatment facilities. I've described the place as one of the leading. That's where he's at. I will continue. Dr. Robert Humphreys of Silver Hill said in the report that Bull should be allowed to stay at the facility for at least 4 weeks and may need to remain there as long as 2 months, given immunity.
What they did with his brother. Just like they did with his brother. Same thing.
Yeah.
No.
Yes, yeah. I didn't even think about that one. When
Just
you're
long it out as much as we can. We have him mentally checked. Just say a load of baloney, and then when it finally gets the trial,
Just keep him topped up with 99 flakes.
yeah,
yeah, he
Fine.
came in. I mean polonium. I mean flakes. I mean polonium. But let's skip down to here though. Because this is Bull only agreed to talk to the grand jury if no questions were put to him that might incriminate him in the eyes of Canadian and Belgian authorities, said Assistant U.S. Attorney Jerome Naderman. That's because originally Bull was arrested in Canada. No charges were filed against him, and then charges were filed in the US, and he had to go to the US to face the charges, and he went to the US to face the charges. Pottinger, former head of Civil Rights Division in the US Justice Department, cited Bull's cooperation with the still active grand jury probe and his mental state as reasons why the sentence should be cut. Dr. Bull has already suffered a severe decline in physical and emotional health precipitated by the sentence pronounced, and there is a strong likelihood that actual incarceration will fix his decline into permanent condition, he said in a written argument. He didn't even say it. Bull's legal difficulties sprang up only after space research shifted from research and development into the business of arms production and sales, Pottinger argued. His failure to adequately supervise and his admitted condemnation. What page are we on? Oh my God, they want me to go through 12 pages. Can you imagine that? Can we get through 12 pages?
You'll be the broken man.
12 pages later?
Yeah.
I don't think I'll make it. I made it. I think I made it. Are we on
We're
page
there.
12? Oh, this is exciting. Bull called.
Oh, here we go. The broken man
wrongdoing by
returns.
company officials and employees was in connection with those new areas of activities. We won't read all this, but I want to read what parts. Because Pottinger is speaking a lot in this. Bull has felt a crushing sense of self-betrayal of his own deeply held values of honor and patriotic duty, values for which his professional life he has nurtured. For his Pottinger said, incarceration will serve none of the three purposes of sentencing: rehabilitation, deterrence, or retribution. Wow, he's so good in Pottinger. He's just such a
this
wanker.
guy.
This guy! Oh, super uber Chad. That's what he is.
There's no point in sending him to prison. What good will it do? Think about it.
You think about it, he'll just sit around and play chess. I mean, that's going to be do anything for all of the people he murdered. Anyway, no. He called the sentence just and proper, or whatever. Pottinger asked whether Bull's time in the psychiatric facility could count as good time or time served. Ah, cheeky.
What about time he spent on the toilet? Couldn't you add that to the time?
Yeah. What about the time when he was younger and when he got older? And okay, he's free now, and now you're in jail. The judge said that is a matter for the Federal Prisons Bureau, and Pottinger said he will take his plea to that agency. Pottinger also provided the court with background information. This is a long letter that went backwards and forwards and had a response by the sounds of it. Pottinger also provided the court with background information about Bull, which shows he achieved international fame in the field of space-age weaponry development. Space research, and this is where we're getting to understand who this Gerald Bull is, for people who are like, oh, we watch, he's arms dealer, all right, but what do you do? Well, Space Research Corporation, which was his baby, that's what he created, which sold 53 howitzer shells to the white minority regime, the apartheid regime in South Africa, during an arms embargo between 1976 and 1978, is in federal bankruptcy court. One of the unsecured creditors is Burlington Free Press. It doesn't sound very free. Which sounds like they could rain down 53 howitzers on you. You don't feel that that's very free.
53,000.
Yeah, you 53,000. Oh my God, you crazy free press. You I don't think you're even a press. Which submitted questions before the bankruptcy court in an attempt to obtain information about the company's investments in weapons and sales agreements with South Africa. So he's involved with all of this. And of course, this is interesting as well. Some of the other people involved in it, I'm not sure if I noticed this myself earlier while I was doing the investigation. Maybe I'll find something new here too. Baker, who was so we're talking here about H. Baker Jr., who's Republican or representative Republican, I think. Baker, who was a member of the Senate, a special committee created by the Senate to investigate the Watergate scandals during Nixon administration, said that he would have preferred a select committee modeled after the Watergate experience. They loved it, didn't they? The Watergate committee was drawn from the whole Senate, and Democrats and Republicans were equally represented.
It sounds like a rebranding. Like, let's not call it the Watergate scandal. Let's call it the Watergate experience.
yeah. Well, these guys are trying to fit it all into the same box, and all of these guys involved. That's part of something else. That's not even part of the same article. So I've gone off a little bit on there because I see how I got nipped over there, but that's quite interesting because it makes me want to go and search what that was about. Anyway, but it does show that we're in the Burlington Free Press. That's what they're called. That's what this is called. So this is the Burlington Free Press. And here you've got various articles, and there's like so many Watergate connections. That's what the press for the next 10 years after Watergate was just like every article had a connection with Watergate somehow, and it was trendy to put in and mention that other people were involved in Watergate. So it's really interesting. Someone like Pottinger, who was so involved in Watergate, is like probably which I reckon this would probably be about Watergate as well. Could we have a Watergate come up here? No, nothing on Watergate there, but you can imagine it.
Even that Levi's advert.
Yeah, look at that. Oh, that's right, Watergate.
Protect your Watergate.
If
our new straight leg jeans.
If you turn it round, that's officially the Watergate, because that's what you open up to let the water.
Yeah, the Watergate's at the back, the Love Canal's at the front.
No, the other way round. The Love Canal.
Sorry,
confused.
right. Yeah.
Which gender are we dealing with now? Let's not get into this, shall we? Let's not get into this right now. Right. So here we go. We had the North Bay Nugget. I mean, who doesn't want to have a newspaper called the North Bay Nugget? And this is just showing that...
Sounds like something someone left in the toilet.
Yeah. That's disgusting. So this is just before the previous trial that we looked at. This is in different order. So this is what I was talking about in Canada. The Globe and Mail says Federal Justice Department in Toronto plans to ask a judge in Quebec to charge employees of a Canadian company with conspiracy to send arms illegally to South Africa, and they don't end up doing it. And it shows 50,000 artillery shells, and says a little bit about his background. Now, Bull's really interesting. He was I mean, you'll see it down on the corner screen for anybody who's been reading, and maybe there's some people who are actually reading some of the article down on the side of the screen. I was putting it for my own notes, but you are free to read it. And I'm sorry if I've not paid attention to that. But as you see here, HARP isn't the HARP that we know as being like other research, the high frequency I know the high.
That's got two P's, right?
Yeah. Or 2 R's.
R's even.
Or maybe 2 A's.
Race.
I don't know.
It's got two with one letter. I know that.
Let's give it 2 H's and be really cool. That's it. Sorry, now I'm just sounding creepy. Anyway, this HARP was High Altitude Research Project, and that fell apart. That was a joint US and Canadian program, and that fell apart. And Space Research Corporation, this Gerald Bull thing, was then given all of the rest of the money for that to, as the article says, the joint governments gave the remainder of the HARP's assets to Bull's newly formed SRC in order to develop and commercialize the technology needed for superior long-range artillery. So this is extremely interesting. Like I say, there was a lot of movement, including with the cooperation of Israeli military industries. There was a lot of weapons that got shipped in by Bull to South Africa. And I'll repeat again, Bull gets killed by Mossad in the end. Well, they say it's probably Mossad, Probably Mossad is like 2 words. It's probably the Mossad, or probably the Mossad. I think 3 words. Let's say probably the Mossad. That comes up over and over again in assassinations for some reason. That 3-letter, 3 words. Arms case settled. What's this? This is the Fremont Tribune. So this is it was settled with the Canadians. That's what that was just showing. And again, these are all within the article to show you, because once we get to the Iran-Contra stuff, well, a lot of this is in loads of different places. So when we get into that, it's a little bit more complicated. But anyway, that was Gerald Bull.